we also have stuff on our website, resources that you can use. Firstly, we have loads of fact sheets, how to start your business, how to invoice a client, how to write a quote, how to write a press release. All of that's on there. One thing worth pointing out, we have a sister project, which is called Own It. Just make a note of the URL on the bottom. It's own-it.org. That is all about intellectual property, which as creative people you need to be really kind of tight on. By intellectual property, I'm sure many of you know what this means, but it's kind of the who owns the rights to your ideas. So it could be about copyright, so it could be protecting yourself against, hopefully protecting yourself against other people ripping off your ideas. It could be design right, it could be about trademarking or patenting. If you've invented a new software application perhaps, you want to make sure that all of the rights belong to you, you need to patent it, all of this kind of thing. So there's loads and loads and loads of information about intellectual property on our Own It website, so check that out. The Own It project is also has a kind of live element to it, which is one-to-one advice on intellectual property from lawyers. So we've got a kind of coalition of all of the best intellectual property lawyers in London who kind of give their time.
From Harbottle and Lewis,
Yeah, and Briffa and lots of different ones actually. And these lawyers have kind of really kindly donated some of their time to come and talk to people who are having issues. So if you think someone's ripped off one of your ideas, if you're having problem getting royalty payments from something you've created, that kind of thing, then you can actually access free legal advice about intellectual property. So that's kind of worth knowing about, kind of park it somewhere in your brain for the future. Hopefully you won't need it, but it's good to know about, and if you're all working in the creative industries, you do need to know this stuff. So there's fact sheets, there's Own It. We also podcast our events now. So we've got a sound student who comes and records everything. And at the moment we've got these lectures, they're all sorts of different subjects. And we're going to podcast all of the graduate week stuff as well. So you can, if you miss an event and you really wanted to go, you can listen again. Okay, so this is a company called Red Ink Creative who came to see us. First of all, this is a kind of grab of their homepage, which isn't particularly attractive, but they are an interesting case study in that they came along to an ECHA event. We had Airside, which is a kind of graphic animation agency, talking at an event about how they started their business. And the guy, Stephen Richard from Red Ink, came to that talk just because they thought they were interested in Airside's work creatively. And when they were listening to the talk, they realised that actually a lot of the issues that the guys from Airside were talking about were issues that they were having in their own business. They'd been running their business for about 2 years. They were at kind of a stuck stage in that it was two people who'd gone to college together, gone off and got experience in different ways, both been doing a bit of freelancing, and then come together to set up their business. And actually their client base was just the people that they'd each been working with freelancing. So it wasn't like they'd kind of formed this business called Red Ink, but actually their client base was exactly the same as when they'd been individuals. And they realised that actually to kind of move their business on, they needed to get more clients. So what they did was they made an appointment with one of our business advisors and sort of talked about all of this and realised by talking to her that they didn't really have a kind of direction. They weren't really focusing on what they needed to do. So she kind of set them really simple homework and then said, come back next week when you've done this. And all she asked them to do was kind of say, what's unique about what they do? Okay, so they're a web development company. So you could say, okay, but there's like 1 million web development companies. I'm sure Bob's got statistics on this, but you know, what's unique about what they do? And can they explain what they do to someone in a couple of minutes? So the potential client could really quickly understand where they're coming from and why you might want to use them. And they realised that they couldn't. So they went away and they thought really hard about, okay, well, who are our clients? You know, we've got this kind of really wide, diverse client base, but why would a new person want to come and use us as opposed to someone else they might pluck out of the yellow pages or someone they met in a bar? And they realised that both of them were mature. You know, they realised that they weren't kind of pitching for kind of funky young clients. What they were actually looking for was kind of more established, almost like production, kind of older. They realised that between them they had loads of construction industry clients. And actually, they thought, right, well, if we've got clients in this area, maybe that's what's unique about us. Maybe this is an area we could kind of make more of. If we've done some of this work, then it's probably easy enough to say to similar companies, okay, well, we've done three web projects for construction companies. You know, we're really good. We understand where you're coming from. We understand who your clients are. So let's work with you. So they went away and they did that. And then it started to become much easier for them to understand what they needed to do. So then what they did was they came back for the second time, they explained all of that, and then Vanessa, the advisor, helped them create really simple goals about how they would get more clients. And it is as simple as that. It is about how are you going to get more clients. And so they kind of came up with a sort of list of 5 or 6 things they needed to do that were really tangible actions. They weren't kind of, you know, strategies or whatever, or waffling philosophies. They were things to do. And she said, right, we'll come back in 3 months when you've done all of that. And so they came back again, and then she kind of set them more stuff to do. And actually, you know, their business started to focus and develop, and they realised that they were getting more clients just by warrant of doing these kind of quite simple actions. So that's kind of Redding's kind of one example, kind of case study, how we sort of help them at different stages.
About 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to leave you with some sort of basic tips for starting your business, which is kind of what I went through with the case study, really. So think about what you do and try and define it, and think about what's unusual or special or unique about it. Think hard about who your customers are. If you're completely coming to this fresh and you don't have any customers, think about who you want your customers to be. Really research your target audience and your market. Research who else you're competing against. That's potentially a lot of people. When I say research who you're competing against, you need to be looking at how much they're charging, because that's important, and that will affect how much you can potentially charge. It doesn't mean that you have to charge as low as them or as high as them. It just means you have to know what other people are charging, and then strategically position yourself in relation to how much experience you've got against them, that kind of thing. Think about what systems you're going to use for dealing with clients. You're working in interactive media, you know, hopefully you're quite systems orientated people as well as being creative, so this should not be too difficult for you. And then put yourself together a plan, because there's loads of evidence and research into the fact that people who write stuff down and plan things out actually achieve more than people who don't write stuff down and plan things out. And it is as simple as that. If you set yourself targets and goals, you're more likely to get stuff done than if you just have a jumble of stuff in your head and you don't really know where you're going with it. Okay?